Welcome to the weekly piece on the Parsha from Torah Giants on Chumash by Rabbi Yitzchak Meir Goodman. Welcome to Torah Giants on Chumash. I'm Steve Geller. We are doing a piece in Parshas Bamidbar, page 20, titled Enemies Who Are Like Bees. Rabbi Goodman explains the usage and meaning of describing our enemies attacking us like bees. In this week's Parsha, it says, the Amori who dwell on that mountain went out against you and pursued you as the bees do. They struck you in Seir until Chorma. Rashi quotes a Bamidbar Rabbah, just as a bee, when it stings a person, dies immediately, similarly, the Amori, when they attacked you, they died immediately. The Bamidbar Rabbah says, what is the meaning of bees? Just as the bee immediately dies when it strikes someone, so also it was with you. When one of them touched you, his soul immediately departed. Rabbi Goodman points out that it seems odd that in this section where the people are being admonished, this description of how easily our enemies would be killed just by touching us seems to offer encouragement and support. The truth, however, is the opposite. This comment by Rashi actually informs the people of the powerful hatred of our enemies who are willing to die as long as they can kill Jews at the same time. This is consistent with the admonishment of our Parsha. With this understanding, we can now explain a three-pasuk section in Tehillim. In Tehillim 118, Sukkim 10 through 12, all the nations have surrounded me. By the name of Hashem, I will surely cut them down. They surrounded me again, but by the name of Hashem, I will surely cut them down. They have surrounded me like bees. They shall be extinguished like burning thorns. By the name of Hashem, I will surely cut them down. According to the Griz, Rav Yitzchak Zev Soloveitchik, these psukim describe enemies surrounding David HaMelech, and as Rabbi Goodman points out, the Jewish people in general, but in the name of Hashem, he is victorious. Pasuk Yud describes being surrounded by enemies, but gaining victory in the name of Hashem. Yud Aleph describes a double surrounding, implying that our enemies make a double circle in case we can break out of the inner one, and yet we are victorious in the name of Hashem. And the last pasuk compares being surrounded as if by bees, by an enemy that is delighted to die in the cause of killing Jews, yet David happily declares that even then his victory is in the name of Hashem. Rabbi Goodman goes on to observe that in these last generations, we finally discovered that there are indeed such mentally damaged people who will happily destroy themselves only for the pleasure of killing Jews. Commentators wonder about Rashi's description that by stating that the enemy dies when he comes in contact with us, just like bees do, it sounds like a positive idea. The fact is, our pasuk continues, "V'yichsu eschem b'seir ad Charma," that they struck you in Seir until Charma. Commentators answer that this is meant as a lesson. When Hashem says not to attack, for he is not with us, we can be assured that we will be defeated even if the enemy dies as he attacks us. Jewish history has proven many times that Hashem's will, not the size of armies, powers, or weapons against us, determines the victor and the vanquished. One additional personal thought, the Torah's usage of the Hebrew word for bees quoted in our Parsha have two interesting characteristics. The Hebrew word for bees, Devarim, and the Hebrew word for our Parsha, Devarim, are spelled exactly the same. Also, the two examples Rabbi Goodman quoted from the Griz have interesting differences. When speaking of our enemies trying to kill us, the Torah uses a hey or Devarim, the bees. Which bees? That very aspect of our enemies that pursue to kill us even at the expense of their own life. But when describing the tactic of surrounding us, David used the term kidvarim, like bees. This is an interesting hint to the point of our Parsha, indeed much of Sefer Devarim, dealing with overcoming our instincts to go against Hashem's word, when our enemies have success against us, even as they die in the process, as opposed to David, who followed the word of Hashem and attributed all of his successes as being by the name of Hashem when our enemies are only like bees. I hope you enjoyed this beautiful insight into a famous expression in the Parsha. Be sure to like and subscribe our channel and leave any comments or questions you may have. This is Steve Geller. Thank you again for watching another beautiful piece from Rabbi Yitzchak Meir Goodman's Torah Giants on Chumash.